Hey, what's up guys, Will here for GSM Arena. We've already reviewed the new iPhone 12, and now it's time to talk about the iPhone 12 Pro. In some markets like the US, it's not that much more expensive than the vanilla one if you compare the storage tiers. So is it worth going for the Pro instead? Let's find out in our full review. Apple has released two devices this year that are really quite similar, the iPhone 12 and the 12 Pro. Both bring pretty much the same design language, including the glass body with a flat metal frame. The main things that set the Pro apart, design-wise, are that the back glass is frosted here, and the shiny frame is a heavier stainless steel rather than aluminum, lending a slightly more premium feel. But the easiest way to tell is that the Pro has a more complex camera setup on the back. This build is sturdy and quite durable, thanks to a special ceramic shield glass protecting the front panel. And of course, you get full IP68 waterproofing. The new iPhones can be submerged up to 6 meters underwater. The screen itself is quite the same like you'd find on the iPhone 12. It's a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED with a pixel density of 460 ppi. This year, Apple is still bringing that wide notch cutout at the top for the selfie cam and 3D scanner. A bit of an eyesore. Hopefully we'll see a bezel-less display from them before long. And despite the current smartphone trends, the newest iPhones have a standard 60Hz refresh rate screen, so you miss out on that super smooth scrolling. But besides that, this screen is great. You get deep OLED blacks, and color accuracy is excellent. The white balance will adjust based on the ambient lighting. And we measured an excellent 800 nits of maximum brightness here, and the screen is perfectly usable when you're outdoors in the sun. Stereo speakers are pretty standard for iPhones at this point. It's a hybrid setup with one speaker at the bottom and the earpiece acting as the second one. Just like the regular iPhone 12, the 12 Pro scored a very good mark on our loudness test, and the audio quality here is excellent, with great midtones and highs and even some bass. You would hope that since this is the Pro version of the phone, you'd get some extra goodies in the box. Well, just the opposite is true. You don't get a headphone adapter or even a charger. Apple expects you to already have these or to buy them separately. And storage isn't expandable either, but there's plenty of storage on board, 128, 256, or 512 gigs. Like last year, the new iPhones don't use a fingerprint scanner for biometrics, but instead use Face ID recognition to wake up and unlock the phone. It's super fast, reliable, and secure thanks to the advanced 3D scanner. But like we mentioned in our iPhone 12 review, if you're wearing a face mask, Face ID won't work, which is kind of a big deal these days. All of the new iPhones come with the latest iOS 14.1 pre-installed. With iOS 14, now you get widget support on the home screen. There are 3 different widget sizes, and you can place ones of the same size into a stack. Then they can rotate through automatically, or you can manually swipe through them. There's also a new option for organizing your apps called the App Library. It's Apple's version of an app drawer, and it sorts the apps into categories for you. And picture-in-picture mode is quite handy. You can minimize a supported app into a floating window, which allows you to multitask while watching a video or FaceTiming, for example. If you want to know more about iOS 14's new features, which there are plenty of, you can check out our iOS 14 review, linked in the description. Otherwise, the interface is much the same. Swiping from the left horn or the notch will summon the notification center, and swiping down from the right calls up the control center. All in all, the UI is quite snappy and responsive thanks in part to this year's chipset, the brand new A14 Bionic, which is built on a 5nm process. Apple claims it offers 50% better CPU performance over last year, and in benchmarks, it seems like they speak the truth. Just like the iPhone 12, the 12 Pro aces the charts with its peak performance. These are some of the best numbers we've seen. GPU scores aren't a giant improvement over last year, but still they come out on top, and games run flawlessly here. You also get a Qualcomm 5G modem on board, so you get 5G network connectivity too. Compared to the iPhone 12, there is more RAM on the 12 Pro, 6 gigs rather than 4. You don't really see an effect on benchmark scores, but the extra memory should help in multitasking. and it also helps with certain features like Dolby Vision video recording and LiDAR scanning, which we'll get to in a bit. Like the iPhone 12, the iPhone 12 Pro has a 2800 mAh battery. It's a smaller capacity than last year, and battery life is a little less too. The 12 Pro scored an endurance rating of 81 hours in our tests. Now on to charging, and we got ourselves Apple's 20-watt charger for this test. Just like the iPhone 12, we were able to charge the iPhone 12 Pro from 0 to 59% in half an hour. This year's iPhones bring support for MagSafe. You can attach certain magnetic accessories to the back of the phone. Besides things like wallets, this includes the MagSafe wireless charger. We weren't impressed with the results we got from this charger though. It was able to charge the battery from 0 to 30% in half an hour. Now on to the iPhone 12 Pro's camera setup, with a 12-megapixel main camera with OIS, a 12-megapixel fixed focus ultra-wide cam, and a 12-megapixel 2x telephoto cam. But the main cam has a wider aperture now, and there's a new addition to the mix, a LiDAR scanner. The LiDAR scanner is like a TOF camera used on other phones, but much more advanced. It calculates distances to objects by repeatedly pulsing a laser and measuring the reflections. And with this info, it creates a cloud-like map of points that can represent the object in 3D space. This has its application in augmented reality, measurement, and scanner apps. The LiDAR scanner is also used to provide edge detection for portraits in dark conditions, and also to improve focusing speed and accuracy at night. Besides that though, the camera performance is largely the same as the iPhone 12. Daylight photos from the main camera look good, with low noise levels, balanced sharpness, accurate colors, and good contrast. The dynamic range isn't jaw-dropping, but the photos look natural and well-balanced. We aren't fans of how the 12 Pro handles fine detail though. Things like grass, foliage, or window blinds often look smeared if you peek from up close. Ultra-wide performance is the same as the iPhone 12. The field of view is super wide here, and distortion correction is quite proficient. The images have good contrast, low noise, and realistic colors. Detail is just average here though. 2x zoom photos from the 12-megapixel telephoto are excellent. You get great contrast, accurate colors, and balanced dynamic range. There's plenty of resolve detail too. If you're shooting in low light with the main cam, night mode will trigger automatically. It's quite streamlined. Since it isn't a separate mode, it usually goes for 1 or 2 second exposures and the image is saved instantly. The results are sharp and detailed, with true-to-life colors and low noise. Exposure is balanced too, with mostly preserved highlights and detail in shadows. You do have to specifically opt out of the night mode if you want to take a shot without it. This results in photos with lower sharpness and contrast, more visible noise, and a bit washed out colors, but they still aren't bad. An upgrade over last year is that the ultra-wide camera supports night mode, which triggers automatically like on the main cam. These photos are very usable, with balanced exposure, contained highlights, decent detail, and true-to-life colors. They are still rather soft and noisy though. Manually disabling night mode will get you ultra-wide images with low detail, plenty of noise, desaturated colors, and softness throughout the frame. If you zoom at night, you'll either get a shot from the telephoto camera or a digital crop from the main cam, depending on how dark the scene is. If the telephoto does kick in, the photos have better than expected detail, and HDR restores most of the highlights. They are a bit noisy and washed out looking though, and there is no night mode support on this camera. The detailed depth mapping provided by the LiDAR scanner gives the iPhone 12 Pro an advantage as far as subject separation goes for portraits. These are taken with a telephoto cam by default, and they are good. The separation is outstanding, and the defocus background looks quite nice. However, the detail could be better here, and there is some visible noise. You can also take portraits with the main camera for a wider field of view. It has more detail, though the separation isn't as good here as we expected. We were impressed though by portrait effects, which seem to really shine thanks to the LiDAR scanner. These artsy photos come out really nice, even on a first attempt, with great looking edges around the subject. Thanks to the LiDAR depth mapping, the iPhone 12 Pro supports night mode portraits with the main camera. These photos turn out great, with very good separation for these conditions. You get nice contrast and well-preserved colors too. However, even though there is an improvement in the separation, exposure, and color saturation compared to the regular iPhone 12, the difference isn't night and day. And with the use of the Auto Enhance in the Gallery app, you can achieve nearly the same result on the 12 that you'd get on the 12 Pro. It just takes an extra step. Now on to selfies taken with the 12 megapixel front-facing cam. You have the choice between taking a full-frame 12 megapixel selfie or a cropped-in 7 megapixel one with tighter framing. The quality here is awesome with plenty of detail, great contrast, superb colors, and well-handled noise. The HDR is well balanced too, resulting in quite a natural-looking photo. Thanks to the 3D scanner on the front, selfie portraits are outstanding, with impressive separation and defocused backgrounds. These come out in the cropped 7 megapixel field of view. Night mode is available on the selfie camera too, and it brightens the whole photo and exposes more detail. The images are still soft and noisy though. You can shoot selfie videos in 4K resolution, and these are excellent, with very good detail. Now on to video captured with the rear cameras, starting with the main one. 4K footage is excellent, with true-to-life colors, great contrast, low noise, and impressive dynamic range. Fine detail is a little lacking, but it's not a big deal. Video captured with a telephoto camera is virtually identical in quality to that from the main cam. The only difference is the zoom. 4K footage from the ultra-wide is decent, but not great. While you do get excellent contrast, colors, and dynamic range, the resolve detail is mediocre. On the iPhone 12 Pro, you can capture HDR videos in the Dolby Vision Dynamic HDR video format, in up to 4K at 60 FPS. If you do, the videos will still look normal on a non-HDR screen, since the Dolby Vision information is saved separately. In low light, 4K videos from the main cam are very good. They are detailed enough, with good colors and reasonably low noise. You can't shoot low light video with a telephoto, but you can with the ultra-wide. This is of rather poor quality. Finally, there's electronic stabilization available on all cameras in all resolutions. As you'd expect from an iPhone, it's fantastic. So that's the iPhone 12 Pro. Compared to last year's model, it's got a larger screen with better durability, a much faster chipset with 5G, improved portrait photos, night mode with the ultra-wide, a LiDAR TOF camera for 3D scanning, and the new MagSafe accessory support. Of course, you don't get a charger in the box this time, and with this huge notch and a plain old 60Hz refresh rate, the iPhones will be behind the pack as far as display goes for yet another year. Some people don't care about that though, but they might wonder if they should go for the iPhone 12 or the 12 Pro. Honestly, the two phones are the same. The only major differences are the 2x optical zoom and the TOF camera. In some markets like the US, the price difference isn't huge, and you might not mind spending an extra $120 for a more versatile camera system. But if you're in a region like the EU where you'd have to pay €200 for that camera upgrade, the iPhone 12 seems like the better deal. Thanks for watching guys, stay safe and see you on the next one.